Ah, there we go. There we go. Right, everyone. While this is all kicking up, give me a minute because I have got to take a prescription. Which is some eye drops, because on the 28th, I think it was, or a couple of days, basically just nearly a week ago now, I got an eye infection. So yeah, I have to take these. Which, by the way, this is a bottle where you've got to squeeze it, and it's a completely rigid bottle, like really doesn't want to go. So yeah. There we go, lean back a bit. It's one in one eye. Let's do the other. Right. Now I've got to sit with my eyes shut for 1 minute. And yeah. So, hello everyone. Hi everyone. Today, anyway, so yeah, first live stream. Hopefully this is going out and everything all right. I will be talking, like, giving my final thoughts about B&M sets and everything in this, and obviously upcoming releases and everything like that, and just, you know, just having a chat in general. So yeah. I should have started counting, but oh well. Oh, Alexa, remind me in 4 hours to take eye drops.
Okay, I'll remind you in 4 hours.
I'll take these every 4 hours. I think the camera's over there. But who knows? Yeah. When it's been a minute, I'll open my eyes and pop this back in the fridge. Because you gotta keep it refrigerated. Keep it frigid. Whatever the hell. Has it been a minute? Yeah, I honestly don't know. Normally I count. But yeah, I'm talking at the minute. It's probably been about a minute. I'll open my eye. Ooh. I'll open my eyes. What did I do with the cap? There we go. Yeah, no idea how I got the eye infection. Because normally it's like, oh, you know, nothing obvious, because there was nothing different in my routine. Everything was just as normal. The only thing I can think of possibly is maybe when I was moving my TV and sound bar and that the other last Friday, and that maybe it was some of the dust or something got into my eye then. That's literally the only thing I can think of that comes to mind. There we go, I got one person watch. I should tweet this out as well. I should tweet this out. Share. Copy link. Oh, not a picture. I want to tweet. Live streaming now. There we go. What does that say? Okay. So obviously B&M sex. Now apparently, just if anyone can let me know if the audio and that's coming through. And that on these, the audio always tends to be slightly out of sync. I don't know why. It always is. Let me get that microphone up a little bit. So obviously I know a lot of people are still having a problem finding the B&M sets. Apparently they haven't appeared at all down south, from what I hear. Though I swear there was one. Let me check. I swear there was one B&M on the map where they'd shown up. I swear there was one place. Give me a sec. Is that... is Birmingham. Well, it's not Birmingham. It's near there ish. Is in Stoke-on-Trent as well. Is that the Midlands or is that the South? I don't know. You always get a bit confused, like, you know, unless someone has the lines on there, which bit are the Midlands, which bits are the South, and that. Yeah, it's just like, meh. But yeah, nothing properly in the Midlands, in the South. They have yet, which is very unusual, and that, and obviously, you know, the new sex and that. A lot of people want them, obviously, you know, for these and that, and this is honestly, you know, one of the best new series Dalek releases. It might even be my favourite, actually. It might even be my favourite release. Notice, though, on my one here, I've swapped the base on this one with one of the Emperor's Guards type ones, the Imperial Guards. I've swapped the base because they shouldn't have scuffing on the bases. Now, I did watch Parting of the Ways and people saying, oh, they do have scuff. No, they have a slight wash on them, which is very, very slight, very subtle, but it's not scuffing that was done here. It isn't lines going down it like this, which is scuffing. It's not that. In fact, it's actually the opposite of it, where rather than, you know, scuffing down like that, which is how it's done, they've got a slight wash on them that sort of brings out the lines in the sculpt, the little edges and that brings it out very slightly, though only when direct light is hitting it. And but that's what they have on them. It's a bit of a wash. Now, if it had that, that'd be fine. But it's not scuffing, because again, you know, new series Daleks generally are much better looked after. And even if they do maintain damage, they're not allowed to go in front of the screen, you know, with that damage, because obviously, you know, it looks bad. So they'll go through refurbishment. I think it was it NSD? Was it NSD 4? I think it was, or NSD 3. It was one of them that had severe neck damage at one point and was given a full refurbishment to just go on the front cover of a Doctor Who magazine with Peter Capaldi. Yeah, I think it was that one that had like a full refurbishment, everything done. Literally just so it could be on a magazine cover and that. Although, to be fair, its neck section was pretty damaged and that around here. Now, obviously, if it was out in public on an event, you know, they wouldn't put the same amount of effort into it as it... Because obviously, you know, on screen, that's kind of like forever. Actually, you know, forever, everyone's going to look back at it. So, yeah, plus they are generally taken better care of. And also, a lot of the Daleks that do go out in public and that aren't actually screen-used ones. Although, in a lot of cases, they later do become screen-used ones. Yeah, it's a bit weird like that. But, yeah. That's a little bit there over with. But, overall, like, I'd say... I'll get the other one, actually. This was the best set, I guess you could say, of last year. I'd say this was the best set, at least in terms of an actual set. But the single best, you know, figure release is over here. Because, you know, this isn't a set, because it's a single figure. It is Emperor Davros. You know, he has a couple of issues, and that this obviously being painted in gold, and that, or bronze, whatever you want to call it. There's that. Mine, to this day, still haven't been able to get the head to turn. Thankfully, mine is facing forward here on this one, and also the fact that you can see here. There, I did a short on this, but there are little marks of where the paint has come off around this section, because again, this is bare plastic. And it isn't quite, because of that, it isn't, you know, it's slightly off. It doesn't have that sort of ivory creamy type look, but still really nice figure. And that, and you know, if those corners were cut in order to, you know, get it in B&M and also get it at the price of $12.99, absolute bargain. And that, and generally he's been pretty easy to find. And that, in fact, most B&Ms I generally going do have both sets at the minute. And actually, most of the B&Ms in my area are Dalek sets. Actually, here's a story. So that first B&M I went to that had this set in, the first one I went to that I was able to get one, that was B&M Gateshead Metro Centre. They got them in not once, not twice, but 3 times. Yeah, they've had 3 deliveries of them. Yeah, 3 deliveries of them. How do I know this? Because I've only bought the one from there. Obviously, you saw in the video I bought the others from one at Sunderland. But the reason I know they've had them in 3 times is because of being in there, you know, since that day, and I saw, ooh, they had like 3 of them left, and I didn't bother buying any because I'd already bought the ones I wanted anyway. So I was just like, ooh. Then went in again another day, and they just happened to be just putting another lot of them out. So yeah, basically they had 3 locks delivered in. So it kind of explains why some other B&Ms maybe, you know, in my area possibly hadn't got them, and that, though a lot of them had, like my local one, the Golden, or former Golden, or whatever you want to call it, B&M, obviously did get them in. In fact, I posted a picture of them on the Doctor Who merchandise page. If you click on that, you'll see my picture there that I took of them, because that's where I bought the rest of them. So I currently have, and I know people are going to be pissed off at this, but I currently have 3 assault sets. So I have 3 of these ones. And I'm not buying any more of these because generally it was just to have extra bases. So I've got 3 assault sets in total. And I now have 4 plunger sets in total. And the reason I have that many is basically because my friend Reese, who lives up in Scotland, basically he asked me to buy an extra lot for him just in case he was unable to find them, and that, which he has since been able to. So it just means, well, I just, you know, keep them as like extra ones and that, which, you know, this is pretty good, you know, for army building. I mean, you can army build with the other down, the Imperial Guard, but I don't know, it just doesn't look as interesting. And that makes, you know, when you've got a black Dalek, I like, you know, when you just have less of them, just because it makes them less special. It makes them less special. What we're going to get this year, who knows? I mean, I can make some very good educated guesses on what we will get this year. So, though this is coming from Logic, and as we all know, Alderag's not like Logic at all. Yeah, Alderag doesn't like Logic, so this is me coming at it from a Logic point of view. But as I said, Alderag deliberately, and he does do this deliberately, because he has admitted to doing this deliberately. Most infamous example is changing the Visitation TARDIS to the Castrovalva TARDIS, or was it the other way around? I can't remember. But the set stayed exactly the same, he just changed the name of the set and the backdrop. Anyway. So obviously, we've got Remembrance as, like, you know, the last, like, classic series B&M sets and that to do, because we've still got the Imperial Daleks, and the Cohill School set, I will not really count that, because it wasn't a History of the Daleks set, that one. And the thing is, like, put the bloody money in to, you know, undo your mistake, even if, you know, you have to redo them, whatever, but get those slats, you know, get rid of the mesh again, and that, even if you have to do new slats, whatever. And get the bloody colour of the eye correct. Like, honestly, you know, use that really shiny silver, and that you know, Alduar loves using. Use that on the eye, and there you go. Imperial Daleks. I will say also, the eye, like, I'd say the ball on the end of the eye is a bit too large. Slightly. Like, basically, the 4-pack Imperial Dalek release, the eyes on those were very small, but they were actually quite accurate. They just needed, the ball at the end needed to be the teeniest, tiniest bits larger. Like, but obviously went a little bit too overboard in the other direction, so just a happy little medium. And that with that. And then, you know, if you've got the sculpt for the destroyed Imperial, maybe that alongside it. But obviously the most, you know, obvious and infamous one to do, Special Weapons Dalek. Because at the moment, Special Weapons Dalek, obviously it's had 2 releases. I've got one of them. There was obviously the sound effects one. And basically, a hybrid between the 2 of those would be perfect. Because basically, the sound effects one has a much better top section and blaster, but has way too much oil on the skirt. Whereas the original release was the opposite way around, where it didn't have the best amount, you know, it didn't have the better top, it had a better bottom section, and that, because there was, you know, there was less of it, was, you know, because it is covered in, like, oil or weathering, but the way it was done on the sound effects one was just, like, way too much and way too splodgy. So basically take the bottom half of the original release and the top half of the sound effects release, put those together, which, you know, is just pin-apps anyway, but put those together, and then you'd have, you know, the perfect Special Weapons Dalek release, essentially. Yeah. And in terms of NSDs, that's an interesting one, in whether or not he skips Daleks in Manhattan. Because obviously, an evolution of the Daleks. Because obviously there's Dalek Sec hybrid figure. You know, whether he would re-release that. I'm not bothered about it being re-released. And that, but, you know, there you go. And maybe with one of the Cult Scaro, I am 99% certain we will not get a damaged Dalek Thea in the new sculpt, but hey, maybe. But I'm 99%, because the thing is, with the way these are made, and that, because essentially this is 2 halves at the back here that come together, including the neck. Because, yeah, on the NSD Daleks, the neck section is not a separate piece, unlike on the classic series Daleks, where there's separate rings and that. So, yeah. But he might do that with the syringe. I can't remember which Dalek it is has the syringe, actually. Is it Dalek Jast? Is it Dalek Jask or Dalek... I honestly can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's not Dalek Thea, so it's either Dalek Jask or Dalek Khan. I think it's Dalek Jast. I think. Well, there's that. Obviously, you know, he could skip all the way forward, and that to doing Series 4, where, you know, Supreme Dalek, Series 4, really nice Dalek, really nice to have a re-release of that. And obviously what is this now, would it be the 3rd release of the Crucible Dalek? And that, but, yeah. There's that. Technically he's already done Julian Bleach's Davros with the Magicians. What? Was it the Magician's Apprentice set? Or was it called the Witch's Familiar set? I can't remember which, but that set anyway. So, who knows? More Davroses I would like to see. You know, Weekly. Obviously, we've had Terry Malloy this year, but you know, as Emperor Davros, I would like to see a standard Terry Malloy. If he's only going to do one more Terry Malloy, I prefer it to be Revelation, because that way we could have, you know, the stump hand and the regular hand. And no David Goodison Davros either. Yeah. He also hasn't done Dalek 5 from Destiny and the Daleks, which is the one still in its Genesis colours, but obviously with now a black plunger arm and the new eye stalk. So there's that. Yeah. 3 packs, pointless. Pointless trying to think of what because you know, you could think until the cows come home on what the 3 packs could possibly be. I'd be interested to know though if next year he'll continue the strategy of, because obviously there's less B&M's, like, variety of B&M sets and that than there has been previously, because technically there's only 2 Dalek sets, 1 3-pack and the Davros. So obviously the way it's been compensated is having variants and that. So I don't know, like with Remembrance, like if it was Remembrance, maybe half with Special Weapons Dalek, half with the Destroyed Imperial. Who knows? NSDs. I mean, there's variants and that you could do with those. I'm trying to think of like more minimal ones, because obviously that's completely different sculpt, and that they're like 100% different sculpt, pretty much. Obviously, if it was a Series 4, you could do one with the Crucible arm, one with a regular plunger. Though again, as I say, you know, but you'd have extra Supreme Daleks anyway, where you could swap them around. So it's just like, yeah. Obviously, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if this does happen. If he does end up going back, which he says he says he's gonna go back, and that's on, you know, doing some of the older Dalek sets, and that, you know, some of the Daleks he may have missed out on. If he does go back and do some of them, which some of them, you know, I would like a redo of, particularly for example, the Chase and Daleks Master Plan. Empower the Daleks as well. The reason I want those gone is because of the shoulder sections. Because obviously with the Chase and Master Plan, he did new paint on the shoulder sections where it was way too white. Like, it was almost a creamy type white rather than grey. It's maybe quite a dark grey as well. And also get the colour of the hemispheres correct, because he gave them, you know, light baby blue, which, you know, they might be quite dark, particularly in Power, and also Evil as well. Yeah. And Planet of the Daleks, get the colour of it right, like you did with that sound effects release. You got the colour of that particular Dalek, the one with the grey plunger. You got that one pretty much spot on, but then you thought they were metallic grey, and they're not. They're not the gunmetal grey with those ones. The Planet. Yeah. Other than that, you know, there's obviously other different Daleks having snacks too. Trying to think. You could do the Supreme Dalek from the Chase, because the Supreme Dalek from the Chase is very, very slightly different. And the main thing is in terms of like colour and that the eye stalk is completely silver. Obviously in Dalek's Master Plan it kind of varies a little bit of how black the eye is, because some of it is black all the way down almost, and then there's others where it's just the, you know, almost all the way. But in the case, it's silver. Probably to make it easier because it, you know, it only appears at the very beginning in that one scene. Another space-time visualizer. The Perceptor. I really want a Dalek with the Perceptor or seismic. Well, here's what I think it is. The confusion with that. 'Cause, the device itself is called the seismic detector, but its readings are Perceptor readings. That's why it gets really confusing on what to call it, because it's called both within the story. You know, that is a little accessory in that I'd love to have. Yeah. Trying to think. Well, the releases, but yeah, Cybermen, do more Cybermen. And for God's sake, just do that Earthshock variant again. Like a proper Earthshock. Do an Earthshock set with Earthshock Cybermen in. Like, God, how the hell do you do? You know, Aljavar's the only person I know who can do a set about something and not have the most iconic thing in that set. Like, you know, who goes, oh yeah, Earthshock, but with no Cybermen. Who goes, Deadly Assassin set, no Master. You know, only in his head could he think of those things. So obviously, we've got some Doctor Who Blue. I'll move on for a second, but got some Doctor Who Blu-rays coming out. Season 7 now. There was a guy who was I think there's one guy who's working on doing the recolorizations for I think it's 13 episodes that he's doing the recolorizations for. For example, the Silurians and Ambassadors of Death and bits of Inferno, I think, as well. Like, basically he's redoing the colour restoration on those. And he put out, I think, a post on Facebook or something saying, you know, don't expect miracles here, because he's had a very tight frame in order to do that amount and that, which, yeah, but at the same time, you know, I mean, at the same time, you know, I'd focus on more like, I think, plus Inferno was probably alright. Like, that was the, you know, that was probably the best of them. He says he's got 13 episodes to do. Or is he not doing Inferno at all? And that, is it just all of Silurians and then all but episode 1 of Ambassadors of Death? Is it those? Because I can't remember what ones he said he's actually doing. Because Ambassadors of Death, episode 1 exists in its original colour. And then the other I think it's episodes 2 and 3 or something like that have like half of their colour existing. And that, but obviously, you know, there's obviously the previous DVD releases. Now, I think the one that needs it the most is the Silurians, because obviously that DVD release was much older. And that, whereas Ambassadors of Death was, you know, in the last like stretch of DVD releases. And that, so I think Silurians probably needs it the most. Like, I hope it gets rid of the fringing, though from his screenshots that he put up, it still did have a bit of like fringing, colour fringing, like in the top. And that, so it would be nice. Please don't AI upscale them again like you did with season 25. It wasn't ridiculous, thankfully. It wasn't, you know, ridiculous, man. But because there is a difference between upscaling and AI upscaling. Upscaling is basically where you're scaling an image to be larger. Whereas AI upscaling, you're trying to add detail, and that you're basically asking an AI to add detail that isn't there, or trying to make it look, you know, HD, like add stuff that isn't there with AI. And yeah, please go back to just upscaling rather than AI upscaling. What else? The season 7, but yeah, interesting. Like, I think Inferno is 3 discs. Though my predictions on that is that there's probably like 1 or 2 special features that couldn't fit on the other 2 discs, and they put it on there on what essentially would be a bonus disc otherwise. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to know if Spearhead from Space has had any work done to it whatsoever, because that was the one and only classic series Doctor Who Blu-ray release that we had before the collection that was actually in HD. Obviously we had the TV movie, but that was just going to upscale. But that one looks absolutely great, and there's no real reason to touch it, so I wouldn't be surprised if that one is exactly the same. Though hopefully it includes the special features from both the special edition DVD release and the Blu-ray release, because weirdly, I don't know why this was the case, because I don't have the special edition DVD, but the special edition DVD and the Blu-ray both have exclusive, unique special features to each release. So if you buy the Blu-ray of Spearhead from Space, you get like a documentary about John Pertwee's life, but not really anything about the story. Whereas if you buy the DVD, you get special features about the making of the story and that. So yeah, they both have exclusive special features. So hopefully they've combined them into that one disc. I'm hoping. Yeah. Now I have pre-ordered as well. The War Games in colour for the sole reason of I'm hoping it has the new restored version on there in black and white. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's got recycling DVDs. I hope that's not the case. But yeah, it's interesting as well because there seems to be a bit of conflict on various websites on how many discs it is. Because some are saying 4, some are saying 3. For example, actually, I'm curious to what it actually says now. I'll check on HMV because I found this really weird. Come on. Right. So let me just check. So if I go on HMV, it says 3 discs, and that is for the Steelbook Blu-ray. And if I went on the Blu-ray as well, but if I go on the Blu-ray, the regular Blu-ray, it says 4 discs. Yeah. Which it didn't say that beforehand. If I go on the DVD, it again says 4 discs on the first image, but on the second image, it says 3 discs. Which again is interesting. Yeah. Now, I think it's probably going to be 4 discs, more than likely, because it includes... Now, the thing is, when I initially it only said 3 discs initially, which is why I ordered it, because I knew that it was going to include all the special features. It said it was going to include all the special features from its DVD release, and obviously its black and white version as well. And obviously the DVD release is 3 discs. And that, so if it was just re-releasing the DVDs, putting the DVDs in there, there'd be no room for the colour version. So that's what made me think, okay, they've reworked it and that, so presumably they've put the new restored version in there. However, now that it's saying 4 discs, it makes me think, oh, they're not going to do what they bloody did with the Daleks in colour and bloody have it in, have disc 1 be, the the War Games in colour on Blu-ray, and then the other 3 discs just be recycled DVDs. I'm hoping that's not the case. We don't know. There's very little information about it, but you know, we're gonna find out very soon. And that with that one, but yeah, because that was literally the only reason I purchased it, because oh god, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah, but I did a whole separate thoughts on watching video, and also my thoughts on watching videos, they're not reviews per se. The reason I don't call them reviews is because it's just my initial thoughts after immediately watching it. It's not like an in-depth review or anything, so that's why I don't call them that. Yeah. But that's obviously coming. What else? Is there another Doctor Blu-ray or something I was forgetting? I honestly can't remember. I honestly can't remember if there was one or not. It's Doctor TARDIS this year, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the next online exclusive will be and that, because that one is always very, very hush-hush. Well, I say very, very hush-hush, I mean, you know. Oh, while I'm on here, another update about my bloody 15th Dr. Sonic screwdriver. Yeah, so last, I think Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it was, when I rang up Character, I think it was on Thursday, the woman who spoke to me said, oh, you know, I'll get to it today, I'll send off your Sonic screwdriver either today or tomorrow, and that was on Thursday or Friday, and I never received an email from her. And unfortunately, that offices close at 3 o'clock on a Friday, so I rang them up today, and she told me, oh, we still haven't received the Sonic screwdrivers you sent back. Which, by the way, I sent them back over 2 weeks ago now, because it was before Christmas. I can't remember what the date was, but, you know, it was 2 weeks ago. And she said, oh, still haven't received them, and there's nothing we can do until we receive them. Which is a lie. It is a lie, because previously, when this happened, when it was taking a while for the Sonic screwdrivers to show up, it had been just over a week, she actually said, okay, you know, if you send me the proof, since you've sent me the proof of posting, I'll just send the Sonic screwdrivers out now. So I was just like, okay, great. But yeah, she's saying, oh, nothing we can do. She said, oh, have you sent proof of posting? And I went, yes, I sent it to your colleague. She asked me to send it to you. She said, oh, well, is there tracking information in there? I went, no, because it's a free post label. It's a free postage label, so there wasn't any tracking information. And you should know, because you sent me that information to begin with. And that, you know, they should know, because I bloody sent it. I didn't say that to her on the phone, thankfully, but I said no. But I had sent. I said, oh, you know, I'll check tomorrow and that, but, you know, we can't do anything until we receive it. And the thing is, I was just like, oh, okay, thank you very much. But God, the thing is, though, I'm 80 quid down. I'm 80 quid down. I've got no Sonic screwdriver to show for it, whether they're damaged or not. And then haven't sent anything out, like, for God's sake. And the thing is, that they know that I've posted them, because I've sent them a picture of the bloody the proof of posting. Like, it's not my problem. You know, that they haven't arrived in that yet. I know it's a case of, oh, well, you know, you could have sent anything in that in the post. Well, yeah, but why would I? Why would I want to keep them? They were damaged. And I know that's the precaution of why, but, like, seriously, if I don't hear anything by the end of this week, and that, you know, like, seriously, I'm going to kick up a song and dance to them, because this is bloody ridiculous. Like, this is why it's not good customer service. It's not. Because, you know, instantly take my money, very happily take my money and that, and then... And they love to give excuses saying, oh, busy time of year, this, like, we should be, it's the bloody 6th of January. Things are basically back to normal by now. Like, there was blaming Royal Mail saying, oh, you know, they're being busy and that. Just like, it's been over 2 weeks. Nah. Excuse time over. Yeah. But I'm not happy. And that, with that, obviously, you know, and also I can believe the fact that she's saying, oh, we're using a new supplier from the Middle East, and they haven't been happy with them, and they've had to send apparently an entire box of them back to them because they've been damaged. So for all the people who are saying, oh, I'm the only one this has happened to, which I already knew wasn't the case, no, there's the proof there. They've had to send a box of them back. Yeah, and the problem is the paint. The main problem is the paint. It's far too thinly applied. In fact, not even properly applied. Because, again, I've had a couple where the paint, it's just the bare plastic. There isn't any paint on there. So yeah, because the thing is, with the figures and that, never really had a problem with any of the figures and that for the online exclusives. Never had a problem with the other Sonic, the 14th Dr. Sonic screwdrivers. It's just these ones. So, yeah. Bloody ping in the arse, this. Absolute fucking pain. I'm going to read the comments now, actually, and answer the questions. How long have I been going for, actually? 41 minutes. Right. Tom K says, hello, love your live streams, thank you. Can't wait until say that again. Can't wait until Gumba and the crew arrive. Go full degrade. You can sound dyslexic. Degenerate, that's what it says. Bagan Gavros. The amazing Lego Cake says, welcome back to Grow Ass Man compilations about toys. Welcome back to Grown Ass Man complains about toys made for children. They're not made for children. They were at one point, but nowadays they're not. They're really not. I have not seen a single child ever going and buy. I've seen collectors and that eyeing them up. Never seen kids eyeing them up in shops in B&M. That's basically the only retail shop you can really see them in. But also, they're not marketed for collectors. I mean, if I grab... Yeah. It's just the nearest one to me. If I grab the 3-pack here, so this is a 3-pack and that, but this is not marketed towards kids and that. And for example, we wouldn't have, everything saying, oh, collectors this, collectors that. Like, they're marketed towards collectors and that. Because the thing is, the 3 3/4 inch line, that was made for kids. That was absolutely made for kids. Because the reasoning is that, okay, the price of the figures and also the quality of that is getting really expensive and that kids aren't able to afford them. Let's, change it to 3 3/4 inch figures and that, so we can make them cheaper and sell them for a cheaper price. That was the logic going into that, and it just didn't work. So yeah, I'm not saying no kids buy them, but in terms of who they make, like, basically it's adult collectors who are the people who buy them. It's adult collectors who are the people who buy them. The reason I complain, if you don't complain about something that is wrong, then things never get better. I'll give you a very recent example. At the end of November, I noticed there was a black dot in the corner of my TV, little black dot where there was some dead pixels, and I rang Phoenix, which is where I bought it from, the TV, and it was still under warranty. I had just under a year left on the warranty. And basically they said, okay, we'll either repair it, or if it's uneconomical to do, we'll just replace it with a 2024 equivalent, which is what they did. In fact, though that was a whole saga in itself, but Phoenix, you know, excellent customer service from Phoenix. Next, I got a brand new 2024 equivalent out of it, which I remember, which is just literally, you know, it's got a slightly better processor in the TV in it, but the panel is actually exactly the same as the previous, so no picture quality improvement or anything like that. But that's fine because the previous one's picture quality was excellent. So yeah, good. That's why I shop. That's why whenever, like, for example, I buy a TV, and that, in fact, I think this was in the news recently about Argos and Currys not honouring their warranties, actually, for TVs. But I would only ever buy a TV from John Lewis, Phoenix, or I've never bought from them before, but I've heard nothing but good things about them, Richer Sounds. Those are the three I would buy a TV from. And that's, and obviously, you know, it's the first time I've ever had to claim on a warranty as well for a TV. As I said, got a new TV out of it, sorted me out and that. So, and thank you to the woman at Phoenix. I think her name was Fran. Thank you to Fran. She did, you know, she was literally on it constantly, trying to, you know, get it delivered and that, and, you know, apologising when things were slowed down. I've got a really itchy nose right now, so, you know, thank you to her and that for getting it done and sorting it all out for us. But there was some hurdles and that, but again, video on my other channel about that. Anyway, what was I? Children's room which hasn't been cleaned since. This room is messy, but what I like to call it is organised chaos, because if you don't know, I've got a very small bedroom and not a lot of space. Because the thing is, what is around me is not rubbish, and that's my brother's bedroom. He's got literally, like, a homeless person would not want to sleep in there. But yeah, basically, I do not have a lot of room, so I have to basically, you know, try and organise every little inch of space I have. And that. But the problem is, as well, if I wanted to tidy it up, the problem is I can't just move stuff around, because I've got nowhere to move it to. If I wanted to, you know, clear my room, like, top to bottom, and that, have it all clear again, where is my stuff going to go while I do it? Because I've got to move the stuff out of the way in order to, you know, clear the space for it. Where am I going to move it to? Because my brother and sister's room, my sister's room is literally full from literally the floor to the ceiling with cuddly toys. And I'm not exaggerating, like, in a literal sense. My brother's room, it looks like the inside of the incinerator I go to, and that when we have, like, when we went to just after Christmas, and that to, you know, dump all the cardboard and crap and that in the TV box. Looks like the inside of that. Literally every other room is full. Like, this house is full of stuff. So it's just like, you know. Plus, it only seems to bother people who are watching it. It doesn't particularly bother me. And that, so it's just like, it's my room, I don't fucking care. And that. Would I prefer it to be, you know, clear and that? Well, obviously. But, yeah, I know I'm not selling me stuff either, because I like my stuff. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't. Tom K, I should have read that first. How can you clean your room? It's too full of goodies, exactly. In fact, here's some lovely goodies, Maltesers. I started eating some of them earlier today. The only reason I haven't downed the whole thing is because I was eating some sweets before. That's the problem with just after Christmas. I don't know if this happens to you and that, but after Christmas, like, you know, when you're bloody knackered and just lying about and that after Christmas, you just like, oh, you've got all these, you know, sweets and chocolates around you. It's just like, oh, it's just like they're there. It's the fact that they're there, you know. If they weren't there, then, you know, I'd be fine. But it's just like the fact that they're there is just like, oh, You know, I could get up and make myself something, but it's just like, I've got sweets and chocolate there. It's just like, oh, just one more, just one more. And yeah, that's the kind of thing that happens. Though when I do finish them all off, that problem will go away. God, my nose is so fucking itchy. But yeah, that is a problem. That is a problem. I know myself and quite a few other people have. Just like the fact that it's there, like it's there and too easy to get at as well. Like, you know, like, to be honest, if they were put downstairs, if they were downstairs in the kitchen, and I'd have to get up and go downstairs for them, I wouldn't have ate as many as quickly. But the problem, and you know, you might think, oh, why don't you do that? If I do that, then me bloody parents downstairs would bloody eat them. Someone else would eat them. And yes, that happened because my dad kept eating our sweets and chocolate that were meant for Christmas. Yeah, because, oh, he found it. He was like, oh, I found these Kit Kat chunkies and that in the garage. And that, oh, I found these chocolate buttons that were hidden. It's like, and that, so I ate them. It's just like, yeah, so we had to buy my brother and sister chocolate buttons and me Kit Kat chunkies because he kept bloody eating them. And that, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. At least he doesn't call himself Amazing Dark Boy. Show us your figures on display. I mean, I don't really have figures on display. Like these Daleks here, these are just sitting on my desk because they're new releases and that. And sometimes when I'm sitting at my desk, I play with them. But same with the Davros. But I don't really have a display of figures anymore, at least. And the reason is because I don't have the space. I really don't. I really do not have the space. I mean, if I put the camera that way, look at that. I need to reorganise this a bit because there's a load of extra big finish cassettes on there, and also some other stuff on there that shouldn't be on there because basically in our council garage, the roof is leaking. Yeah, it's leaking. And so there was some stuff I had to literally quickly grab and rescue. And one thing that was actually ruined was a table I made back in high school. Yeah. Which unfortunately got soaked. Thankfully, though, it protected everything underneath it, thankfully, because it was at the top. Rang the council about it, and they said, oh, you know, we're busy in that. We'll get round to it eventually. Like, you gotta fucking pester them. Like, the thing is, my dad does not like, you know, confrontation. At least with anyone that isn't his family. He'll confront me, my brother and sister, but, you know, if someone flings shit at him in, you know, who, you know, in public, or someone he doesn't know, like a faceless company, oh, you'll absolutely take it. Where am I at? Yeah, I don't work. I'm actually all I'm going to say is I am currently on sick notes. And I will be for the foreseeable future. And that's, but I don't have a job, but and that's, and at the moment I'm on sick notes as well for Universal Credit, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Ian Levine still hasn't forgiven you. Sorry. Ian Levine still hasn't forgiven you. You're on his list. No, Ian Levine does not know who I am, and the reason I know this is because someone who doesn't like me and that basically messaged Ian Levine privately and tried to basically rile him against me, and he went, "Who's Sick Sec on YouTube? Who's that?" and they sent them videos and that some of the videos I've done about it, and they went, "Oh, I haven't seen these," so maybe I'm on the list now, but before I definitely wasn't. So, but to be honest, yeah, I'm not afraid of Ian Levine in the slightest. CyberFam says, "Hello, how's it going? Happy New Year, Happy New Year." Well, at the moment, a lot of frustration, so we'll see. Hello, Mr. Velasca. What do you think of Take That, and what is your favourite song of theirs? Funny you should mention that. Picked this up the other day. This is for a friend, but which I'll send it to him. But I wanted it as well. But I'm very happy to just rip it, and I also converted I also split up the concert, and that split up the various tracks in the concert and converted them to FLAC files and MP3s, so I could have it on my phone, because this is only ever being released on Blu-ray and DVD. Yeah, no CD or digital release, which, yeah, odd. But yeah, I do really like Take That. I will say their latest album, well, their last album, I should say, This Life, did not like that one. And that, I mean, it wasn't awful, but just like, I can't really remember it. And that was very bland, I think is the best word, but it wasn't a big fan of that. Favourite Take That song is probably Patience. I'd say the last great Take That album was Progress, or Progress as the later edition was, which obviously you know was the big one with Robbie Williams coming back in it. But yeah, I do really like Take That. Say probably second favourite song is probably Everything Changes, which I have the Zoetope vinyl for that. Did an unboxing of it on my other channel. Hopefully the other albums do get released on vinyl. And then probably Back for Good after that. And don't know, what's it? Hello, Arbman27. When dealing with character, Tom K says, when dealing with character options, you need a little patience. You need a lot of fucking patience. I needed a lot of patience when it came to getting that TV. Yeah. Yeah, is there any more commentos? Commentos. That's what I'm going to call comments out. Commentos. Commentos. Actually, I'm just going to have a random tangent at the moment. I fucking hate Windows 11 for various reasons. But number one is, a few weeks ago, the HDMI port on my laptop stopped working. Just randomly. Like, it didn't detect anything was connected to it. Which I thought, oh, that's weird. Why is that not happening? Took the laptop apart. In fact, I took it apart twice to check the port. Just to make sure, and it was rock solid, the port. So I was like, what the hell's going on? And I had a USB-C to HDMI adapter. I tried that, and that worked fine. So I was like, okay, the port just must be dead on it. Nope. I forced it to do this Windows update, which took forever to get it to do it. And that solved the issue. It was a Windows update that was stopping it from the HDMI out from working, yeah. Which is a really weird issue, but just because the HDMI out on the laptop is HDMI 2.1. And unfortunately, the USB-C that's on there only supports HDMI 2.0. So, yeah. Because I don't use it that often, but when I do, I want it at its best. CyberFM says, I've got a life-size Auton troll doll. I'm assuming that's meant to say for Christmas. He now honks my dreams, though he looks great. I've got something that may haunt people's dreams for Christmas, though I do love it. Unfortunately, he's... oh! USB-C. Yeah, USB-C cable there. But my intention is to get him fixed up. Yeah, it's a USB-C to C cable there. That will come in useful. It will come in useful. 18 watts. Yeah, we'll see about that. We will see. Plug that there. Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Shrek 5 comes out next year. Here's the thing, actually, with DreamWorks films for the past few years. They come out like a month earlier in America. And then by the time they come out over here, a lot of the time they're either just about to or already have gone on American streaming services, or at least to buy digitally. So a lot of the time I'm able, to go on American, like Amazon or other places, and watch them there, and that, rather than watch them in the cinema over here. Like, for example, Kung Fu Panda 4, The Wild Robot, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I was able to watch them basically, before, either on or before they came out. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish took 3 months to come out in the UK from when its original US release. It was nearly a month before where I was able to actually watch it, thanks to it being released digitally in the US before it came out in the UK. So, and with Kung Fu Panda 4, literally, I waited 10 days, and then I was able to watch it thanks to it being digitally released in the US. Same with The Wild Robot. Though I will say, The Wild Robot, fantastic film, and I have pre-ordered it. In fact, and it is getting released on 4K Blu-ray in the UK, which is great. Yeah, and I encourage people to watch it as well. But yeah, because with Kung Fu Panda 4 and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, also The Bad Guys, all of those I had to import the 4K Blu-ray from the US because, reasons that they didn't release it outside the US in 4K Blu-ray, because I like 4K Blu-ray. It's good. Anyway, I was nattering on. I go on tangents a lot. I rabbit on, I waffle on. If you don't like a waffle on type of thing, this isn't the videos and that to watch. But yeah, as I say, you can literally ask me absolutely anything, and I will answer it. In some shape or form, at least. I think I've still got a bottle of Slur, actually. I bought for Christmas, for myself, for Christmas, I bought a 6-pack of cans of appetizer. They're only, I think they're 200ml or 250ml cans of appetizer. And I bought 3 bottles of Slur, which are 750ml each. And I didn't have any of the Slur on Christmas. I did have the appetizers. I think I had about 3 of them on Christmas Day. And I saved the Slur for New Year's. I've had 2 of the 3 bottles, because they're worth like £3 for £3 at Asda, I remember. Yeah, I've kind of gone off slur a bit, actually. The white grape, mainly. The red grape was alright, but the white grape was like... And I think I've got rosé one left, I think. I'll have to check, I think it's in a bag somewhere. I misheard him. I think I'm going to say a racial slur. No. In terms of recent things I watched Squid Game Season 2. I say Season 2, it's really Season 2 Part 1, really, because, again, you know, it doesn't resolve the story in that at all. But I enjoyed it. Not as much as the first season, but I did enjoy it. I will say it did feel like forever to get into, you know, for them to actually get back into the Squid Game. A lot of Americans seem to call it Squid Games, but it's not. It's called Squid Game. Because of that one single game. The actual final game. But, yeah, because people are complaining, saying, oh, it's only half a season, really. And it's just like, yeah, but it was still a decent half. It's still a decent half. And I think Season 3 is coming out in, it's like June or July? Something like that. Yeah, it was alright. Like, I'd say episodes 1 and 2 should have been edited down into 1. And that. Tom K says, I think you should be in Squid Game. Oh, Tom, you put Squid Games. No. There's no S on there. Squid Game. It's like... yeah, I actually thought... I did have a think about this. Like, how long would I survive Squid Game? Like, I'm pretty sure I'd survive red light, green light. In terms of the other ones, the other games, Like, the thing is also, like, I think it's worse, like, it can be either worse or better, and that's when you have to do it in a group, because you're having to rely on other people. And that, don't know. Like, also, I think, like, during the night when, you know, people are killing each other, I think you've got two strategies for that. Either you have to be the most vicious one and literally, you know, go mental and kill everyone, or you have to be the person who literally just hides away from everything, just like hides away, doesn't see anything, doesn't do anything, and that just hides away from it all, like under the bottom of the bed. Basically, you've got those two options. If you want the best chance of surviving, you either have to be the most vicious, most mental, or you have to basically just be the most quiet, cowardice. I don't know which one I'll be. I do know though, if I was legitimately there, and I didn't know what was happening, I would vote to leave immediately. Like, I like to play. I generally would like to, I do like risks, but like, I'd be like more cautious. Like, for me, it's like, okay, won something, there you go. Like, if I've won something and that, okay, I'm happy, go. Just like, yeah, I can go now. Like, if I was on a game show and they said, oh, you can either go home with £1,000 or go on and risk it all for, like, 5 times that amount or something like that, or something like that. I'll be just like, nah, I'll take the 1,000 or whatever it is. Could you please, Tom K says, could you please say something for me? Don't worry about the pronunciation. Please say Hokama spit and spit that in the tang. What? What a shitty price on a game show when the top prize is 5,000. Whatever. I have never ever been on an actual game show though. I've never been on a game show or anything like that. Or anything like that. Yeah. I think the only thing I've ever won money on, although I've also lost a lot of money on that, won on, I should say, is like ticket machines. But I've also lost a lot more on them. But yeah, like ticket machines at arcades, and that when I was younger. Now I don't go near them, and that. But I remember like when I was younger, I did used to enjoy them because I remember there was some at Whitley Bay, but also there was some at Whitley Bay that I used to go to, and that because I'd go with my brother and sister and we'd try and win tickets and that. And generally, I'd only win, like, the thing is, I generally just win enough to get some sweets out of it. But obviously now I would just stay well away from them because the amount of money you spend and that, I could just buy the sweets if I really wanted to. And that, yeah. I don't really go to arcades anymore. Unless it's like occasionally, very, very occasionally, like, if it's like, the air hockey table or something like that, something where, you can still have fun on it, and, whether you win anything or not. Nigel Farage. Now, Nigel Farage is interesting. I'm not going to go for you too deep on it. But, do I think he would be the best at running the country or being in charge? No. But I think he'd be better than what we've got currently. That's not saying much, but there you go. I think also what changed my opinion more about him is when he went in the jungle on I'm a Celebrity back in 2023. I think you got to see more of a human side, so more of a side to him, that the public, a lot of the time doesn't see, because most of the time you don't get to see stuff like that. It's the same reason as well, like I like Gino, Gordon and Fred, is because you get to see a side of Gordon Ramsay you don't really get to see much. Like, obviously we see, the work-focused Gordon Ramsay and that in Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, etc. And you also get to see a bit of his family side as well in other shows. The CBBC show he did with for his daughter Tilly, I can't remember what it's called. But you get to see his family, but you don't get to often see him, like, what he's like, just hanging around with his mates. And hopefully, they finally convince Gino to sign back on to do another series. And that's, yeah. I don't really have any opinions on Tommy Robinson or Jeremy Clarkson because I don't really know anything about them, to be honest. So I don't have any opinions either way. Like, I know the name and that, and I know both of them have said controversial things, but I've no idea what those things are, and that. So I don't really have an opinion either way on them. So, yeah, can't really say anything either way, and that. If I don't know, I don't know. Blep, 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 blep. Oh god, here we go. Another comment. I think you're obsessed with Alduar. It's all you go on about. Well, the thing is, this is a Doctor Who, focused channel, mainly, on Doctor Who merchandise. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about him a lot. I am going to talk about him a lot, but I do have other YouTube channels where I don't talk about him at all. And that, so yeah. Plus,
I didn't hear that.
that's because I didn't.
Let's try that again.
Alexa, stop. I didn't talk to... See, my one's a bloody weird one where it bloody... When you ask it something directly, it doesn't hear you half the time. And when you don't, it bloody answers. But, no, I think it's more just of a... More of a running joke at this point. And that a bit of a meme of the channel, running joke. Of the channel more than anything else. Yeah. Plus, I generally only mention it, you know, when I'm mainly talking about figures and stuff like that. Like, for example, if I'm talking about the episode, like when I do my thoughts on watching on the episode, then Russell T Davies is the one I'm talking about more, complain about more, so it does kind of depend. But yeah, like, you're surprised I talk about Alduar a lot when, you know, I'm talking about the Doctor Who figure line that he is in charge of. I know, surprising. What do you think of Hitler? I think he was a monster. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to set my Amazon device off. To be honest, what I use that for the most, actually, my Echo Dot, is alarms and reminders, and that. And maybe the odd, you know, random question here and there. But mainly, like, that is what I use it for. I think that's what most people use it for as well. All the time. Literally just, like, setting alarms, setting reminders for things. And that, which is very useful for, because I am extremely forgetful. What am I leaning on here? No, that's not. No, it's not an alarm getting up for work. I think you already know that now. It's alarm if I need to do something or be somewhere for something. Reminders is generally just like basic things like, oh, like you wouldn't have heard it before because I did it before, but it was reminder to take my prescription, my eye drop prescription. You know, reminder to say, oh, check on the oven at this time because your food will be done. Reminder to, you know, buy some flavoured water when you're out. You know, there's things like that. Obviously, you know, I used to do that on my phone, and sometimes I still do, but the reason I do it on there is because it'll actually speak it, it'll actually say it, because if my phone, you know, or my tablet and that, you know, sometimes I may not realise it's, you know, got a notification, whereas, you know, if it's talking it, speaking it, you know, obviously I'll hear it and know about it, and it goes to the phone as well. I don't use moisturiser. I'm 27. Did you see the substance? Really good, honestly. Didn't think it would go as far towards that in the end. I'm sorry, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know. How did you fix the fender on the NES? No, I haven't painted it. As I said, what I basically did is, show it. With this one, I just did a swap of the two fenders. So, swap that one with that one. There you go. Yeah, I did see spray paint in Poundland, though it costs, I think, £2.50, which would be a close approximation. And that, Though, to be honest, since I'm not that fussed on having an army of these, I'll probably just swap more bases with them. Yeah. If I want to. But, yeah, that's essentially what I did. And the way you do that, it's 4 screws on the bottom and then the base pops off. And then you can swap them over. Recommendation as well, get an electric screwdriver, an electric precision screwdriver. Saves so much time. I have no idea what Armor 27 and the old Rob Montagues are talking about. Actually, I just don't have the foggiest. Maybe because I'm not hip with the kids. But then again, I never was. It's a body horror dark comedy show, okay. Hip with the kids is what I said. But I was never hip with the kids, even when I was a kid. Yeah. I was basically hello fellow kids when I was a kid. Yeah. Because I wasn't into the same stuff that they were into. And that, generally. Or if I was in it for far longer than they were. Like Doctor Who, you know. I never stopped. And that were those, like, and other children's shows as well. Or shows aimed at a younger audience. Like, the past couple of days, I rewatched all of Mau Mau, Heroes of Pure Heart. Which is a shame it got cancelled after its first season. But yeah, fantastic series. You have to pirate it. And that, thankfully, I have a pirate copy because it's literally available fucking nowhere. Because Warner Brothers scrubbed it off the face of the earth, just like they did with other stuff. It's weird how you can't swap the CO Classic Dalek and SD fenders. Was like being both, yeah. Are you talking about the toys or the actual props? Because, I mean, with the toys, like, you know, they were differently made and moulded and that, so it makes sense, in that regard. I can't remember, have I ever tried to fit them? Yeah, they don't quite fit. Yeah, I know PB Props did have a hand in these ones, but, I believe also I don't know if they scanned an actual prop for this one. I can't remember. If they didn't, it was one of the last times they didn't do that, because they always do that now. Generally, you know, they would scan it. I'm going to plug my phone in. Mama and the Pure Heart, what the fuck is that? Mama was a Cartoon Network show which ran from 2019 to 2020. It had one season of 40 episodes, and probably the reason you haven't heard of it is because it actually was quite popular and did quite well. It actually won the creator several awards. Unfortunately, because of you know, the Warner Brothers animation defamation, it had started production of season 2 because it initially got greenlit for season 2, and then because of the Warner Brothers, you know, or Max, you know, animation defamation, not only did its second season get cancelled, it got removed from streaming services, and just like a lot of other things. So now, literally, the only way you can watch it is if you have a pirate copy of it, which I do. In fact, I have 2 pirate copies of it now, because I have my original pirate copy, but someone had a slightly higher quality version, so yay. But yeah, it's a shame. What do you think of the new Wallace and Gromit? Go to my other channel and I tell you exactly what I think of it. But to put it in short, I did enjoy it, but it is definitely the weakest Wallace and Gromit. It's the most Netflixy type as well. You can tell the Netflixy influence on it. I think it doesn't have the best dialogue in places, and also it's really the only Wallace and Gromit that has extended scenes where like it actually has a lot of extended scenes and plot arcs that aren't to do with Wallace or Gromit or the villain, and that because of we have PC what's her name and that and her arc in it, which I just kind of felt those kind of took away from the story. It kind of felt like those were there to like make it that 80-minute, make it to 80 minutes. Make it, feature length where, I think if it was, maybe an hour or heck, get rid of the police thing entirely and just have it be a short, yeah. I don't know, but I still did enjoy it. I will say, I'm slightly disappointed, and I understand why they're doing this, is obviously more and more Aardman now is not actually claymation anymore. The heads of the characters are, for the most part, but a lot like in this film, sometimes Wallace will have his claymation arms, his plasticine arms, but a lot of the time they're also silicon. And I'll give you an example: Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. The only thing that is, made out of plasticine or clay are the chicken's heads. The rest of them is made out of silicone, unlike the originals. And that is basically, to save time, save money, and that, and make it easier to animate, which I get. But, I think it loses a little bit of the touch because, obviously, with the silicone, and why you can always tell when it's silicone, you don't get the little fingerprints on that. Whereas, obviously, you do on claymation. Which is just something I just miss. I think it, loses that human touch a little bit more. Mahmood's school, is he Muslim? I don't know. Do you remember Mahmood from school? Yes, I do. I remember him. Was he Muslim? I have no idea. I literally do not have idea. Because I never ask him. I kind of get your point on New Wallace and Gromit just being a generic AI villain. So yeah, but it still does have a bit of the Aardman charm, but it has lost quite a bit of it. Yeah. Like, I would never call it bad in that, but yeah, compared to the classics, like, nah. Do you speak to Matthew with the autism of 6 Second Adventures? I'm not going to tell you much about him, but I have spoken to him a few times since. Mainly when I happened to meet him on the metro, actually. But he doesn't speak to anyone, as far as I'm aware, because other people who, used to be in our friend group when we were at school, who I'm still in touch with, they don't talk. He doesn't. Well, I shouldn't say they don't. They try to talk to him, but he doesn't talk to them, and vice versa. Yeah, he's very. I think ever since he, left school, he's been very isolated, and that. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. But I have spoken to him since, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. I mean, it says I'm autistic on my medical records. I know, what a surprise. A few times, some mate you. He's autistic. Maybe he's lonely. No. No, he's not lonely. In fact, the opposite. He deliberately does not. He does not like talking to people. He really doesn't. Like, he's one of those people where you have to do basically 90% of the conversation. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's like now, particularly because I don't really know him, what he's like now. And that, as I said, I've only spoken to him a few times since, yeah. I don't invite anyone to watch things with me. Plus, that was on Christmas Day. Like, I don't watch things with my family who live in this house. I don't like watching things with other people. Because I like complete silence, you know, I like... Basically, you know, I do very much enjoy my own company. And that's, yeah. Like, I much prefer, like, going out places and that on my own, and that with other people. And I'm not, you know, that's just me. That's just what I'm like. And that. Like, for example, you know, I remember people at school and that, they have their friend group and that, and they go out in friend group. I never went out in friend groups at school, ever. I just realised, like, again, like, I generally, you know, preferred my own company. And that. I never really mixed with other kids when I was a kid. I remember my parents and grandparents would try to take me to these, like, play groups, you know, and I never wanted to play with the other kids. I didn't want to go anywhere near them. And that. Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm not saying, you know, that it's wrong to do so or anything. That's just me. Oh, the bloody chat scrolled back to the top. Where were we? Am I what? Are you talking about the autism thing? Because it does say, I can confirm it does say that on my medical records. And I had to find that out, actually. Funny story of how I found that out, actually. It was when I had kidney stones, and my parents were actually on a holiday at the time. So basically, I went to the doctors myself and that, and they said, "Oh, you need to go to hospital." And that, and they said, "Oh, are you all right to go yourself since you're autistic?" And I went, "What?" I went, "What? How do you know that?" And they went, "Oh, it says it here on your medical records." So, I don't know. Because at the moment I'm still waiting for an official diagnosis for where I'm like at and everything on the spectrum and that. Where I've been waiting for over 2 years. It was meant to be under 2 years, but now it's over. But it does say it on my medical records. It's a bit weird. And that, so legally, I've spoken to some of that, but legally I can say that I am. So, yeah. Because it says it on my medical records. So I can always pull that up. No, it does not say I'm a homosexual. But it doesn't say I'm not. But no, I'm not. Maybe he just doesn't like you. I mean, to be honest, he forgot he didn't recognise me. on several, like, he doesn't seem to recognise faces, because I remember, I remember the first time I saw him on the metro, which had been a while. It had been, been years since I'd seen him. I had to remind him who I was. Because he said, "Oh, you look completely different." Which, I mean, apart from the beard, I don't think I really do. But then the thing is, though, I saw him again, like 2 weeks later, and every time since, I have to remind him who I am, because he forgets who I am. Yeah, I don't know how. Okay, then go at the end as the like, just like, "Oh yeah, we went to school." It's like, how the hell do you not remember? Matthew would not have spent Christmas all alone, because he lives with his family, his parents. You're a Doctor Who version or a Seaside Mark? What? Matthew is not a Shad. He is not. I do know he still wear, like, that Zelda jacket he wore in Six Second Adventures. He still wears that to this day, which I think is amazing. The fact that he can still fit in it. Because I know I can't fit in any of the clothes I had back then. When I was, how old would I have been then? I would have just have turned 14 then. So he spent Christmas on, mention just played a Doctor. Just played Doctor Who with autistic Matthew. Matthew wasn't really a Doctor Who fan. Like, he was very much a very casual fan. Like, he'd seen bits of the new series and that was it. No, he's not going back. Absolutely not. You get you. Thoughts on the new Superman trailer? Apparently, from like people who have seen like the film or like test screenings, apparently the trailer is not a reflection on how the film is like at all. So I don't know. I mean, I was just like, looks all right. I mean, the costume looks shit, but you know. But I don't think Matthew hits the gym. In fact, I'm almost certain, because from what I know, and that from speaking to other friends, basically, he gets the metro to work, and that gets the metro back. That's it. That's the only time he leaves the house. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. So, when we first got our dog Bobby and that, we kept him in the house and that for the first couple of weeks, which is what you're meant to do when you get a dog. So, they become familiar and that with their surroundings. But then, when it was time to take him for his first ever walk, I decided to bring Matthew along. I thought, oh, he's got a couple of dogs, he can maybe give us some advice or some help. Turns out he was worse than useless. With it, because I asked him, so what do you do? He went, oh, I don't know. And I went, well, what do you do when you walk your dogs? He went, oh, I've never walked my dogs before. Was I say, what? You've never never walked his dogs. Ever. So he didn't know anything to do and just kind of stood there awkwardly. And that's, while Bobby was bloody I remember there was a woman and that who was walking up, and she took a look at me and she went, "Who's walking who?" Because Bobby was was going in bloody every direction, and that because he was bloody ecstatic. I mean, the thing is, he's a very to this day. Some people when I meet people with other dogs, and they think he's a puppy. Some of them still think he's a puppy. He's not. He's 10. But he still acts like he's a puppy. Because he's still extremely, excitable. I'm not going to tell you where Matthew works. I do know where he works. He told us. But I'm not going to tell you where. Use. Oh, Superman. Yeah, it looks like the thing from the comics, but I think a lot of people have said this. It looks more like someone's cosplay than it does an actual, professionally made costume. If this was say a Spider-Man film where he's making his like with Tom Holland, where you go from it's homemade type one and then progressively more, that would make sense. But Superman, not so much. But yeah, what time is it now? 6:30. So you weren't a fan of the Man of Steel suit, the dark one? I was a fan of the blue version. The black one, not as much. But I thought, to go from that to this, just yeah. Well, to be honest, I'm bored of most superhero films, to be honest. I've had the superhero fatigue. I will see the Batman Part 2 or whatever it ends up being called. But anyway, I think I've done enough on that for this live stream. Now I'm going to go and get something for me tea. And then take my dog Bobby out for his evening walk. And scratch my nose a bit more because why does it always get itchy on the live stream? Literally every live stream I'm fine beforehand, but then my nose just randomly gets really itchy during these streams. I don't know what it is. And that, but it just starts getting itchy. Maybe it's the thought of don't scratch your nose, and then somebody's just like, your nose gets scratchy. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, I've no idea what my next video will be on that, but I'll think of something. At least your bum is not that itchy, according to Tom K. No. I'll tell you when my arse gets itchy. My arse gets itchy when it's really warm. Same with my ears, actually, or any part of me. If it gets particularly really... That's why I can't really wear my headphones in the summer, because it makes my ears get really, really itchy. Though at the minute, it's great. It works as a great pair of earmuffs as well. But, yeah, anyway, that's it for this live stream. I'll see you.